All right, hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to work on making a couple of cards for the journal that I will be working on. You may have been with me when I did the paint resist technique last week. And you might have heard me say in that video that I was thinking about doing a black and white journal just by scanning these and putting them into the computer. But I really fell in love with this color palette. And it is springtime, so I figured I could do a spring journal. So today, I think I'm just going to be working mostly in the blues and greens because I've already created, let me get these out of the way so you can see. I have already created this masterboard. So this is mixed media. I'm not going to explain it too much because that's what we're going to be doing today. Well, the first part of it anyway. So I have already prepped this piece of paper. Oh, there is, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. There was embossing powder over it because of the first one. And so actually the first step that I'm going to do off camera because you will not be able to see it. And I'm just going to be using this number stamp and this text stamp with some white embossing powder. The opaque bright white, and my embossing dabber. So I will quickly do that, and then I'll be right back with you guys. Oop, we've got a hair. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is get a wash of color in the background for these. I'm going to use my Mungyo Watercolor set for that. I'm just putting a little bit of water down first. We'll get to the more fun stuff here in just a second. I just want a little bit of something there already. Let's see. And I said I'm going to focus mostly on the blues and greens, maybe a little bit of yellow. This paper that I'm using, I got it off Amazon. If I can find it again, I will link it below, but I know that it was gone for a time, so I may not be able to find it. And I'm just scribbling this on. No real kind of order to it or anything. Just getting some color down. Making sure it's nice and wet so the colors will run into each other. And let's grab some green. And I did that. You could do the embossing afterwards if you wanted to. Ooh, we went pretty green there. What was I saying? Yes, yeah. You could do the embossing afterwards, but you do run the risk, if you do that, of picking up the color underneath because watercolor is water soluble. So when you stamp on top of it, you can sometimes the color will bleed through. And this way it's just down, the watercolor resists it. So it is not a big deal. Man, I'm putting that green down for show. And do I want to add yellow? I added a little bit of yellow, not much, but a little bit of yellow in the masterboard that I'm going to use for pockets and such. Let me see. See, there's a little bit of yellow up here, and then there was some down here, a little in that corner. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I add a little bit of yellow? Or should I just stick with the blue? I think I want to go a little darker than I did on the masterboard, because these are going to be more kind of finished pieces. Whereas the masterboard's more for, you know, pockets, belly bands, and such. These are going to be actual standalone pieces. So, oh, right, this paper. It's really, really cheap watercolor paper. You can see how much it's warping. But it is 100% cotton. So if you like doing like wet on wet techniques, then it's actually a pretty good paper for that. That's not too very expensive. So I will try and find it for you guys, because I use it in a lot of my mixed media work, because it is 100% cotton. It can take a lot of punishment, but it is a cheap paper. Don't think you're going to be making like watercolor masterpieces with this. It just is not going to work out well for you. But okay, I like that. I like that. And then you could let this dry naturally. I like to force it because with the amount of warping that's on this paper, do I want to add a little yellow? I think I'm going to add just a teeny bit. But the amount of warping on this paper will have it dry kind of interesting. So that's just a personal preference. I'm just adding a teeny bit of yellow in some of this green. And then I'm probably going to do some splatters with the blue. Shall I? Shall I? What do you think? What do you think? I think I say go for it. Go for it. Grab a little bit of a darker blue. And these splatters are going to like spread out a lot because it's very wet. So just be aware of that. If you want them to be more noticeable, then wait until everything's dry and do it that way. Yes, yes. Okay. So just a little bit of splatters there. Perfect. So I will quickly force dry this. I think, oh no. There was one more thing I wanted to do. Got some of my Tim Holtz watercolor pencils here. And I'm just going to kind of scribble, just for a little extra texture in the background. And you can see I'm not being nice to this paper. That's why I like using it, even though it's not a great actual watercolor paper. And a little bit of a darker blue through some of it. Something like that. Yes? And then if you want to, you can. You don't have to. Just drag along the lines. It'll help soften it up a little bit. And it'll make some of the green go into the blue go into the green. These are things that I like. And so I shall do it. I shall. Should have done the splattering after that, actually, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll still get a little bit of variation. Okay, let me go ahead and force dry this, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so that is nice and dry. Whoop, except a little bit right there. Where did that come from? Oh, actually, I think it came from the tape. That's okay. That is okay. So now I want to do some stenciling. If I can pick it up. And I'm using this one. I am not certain where I got this, truthfully, so I do not think I can tell you. Where did I get that one? I don't remember. I do not remember. But I'm going to use the Ice Spruce Distress Oxide. And I'm not going to do it too much, you know, too much in too many places or anything. I just want to bring in some texture to the background, maybe a little down here. And this is the exact same stencil that I used in the first part with the masterboard, so I didn't wash it off. There's still ink on here. So maybe I don't need to dip so much. Let's see. Whoops. Oh, it moved on me. I think it'll be okay. Should be okay. Should be okay. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. This is the lightest color, so it's not that big of a deal. And then a little bit up here and a little in this corner. Because why not? Why not, I ask? Perfect. Love it. Okay, so there's that one. And then I do want to come in and just soften the edge of it up. I just think that makes it look a little more cohesive. Not a lot, just a little bit. Just soften up the edges. Kind of fix where I messed up down here. A little bit in the corner. And a little bit on top. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to move from the Ice Spruce to the Salvaged Patina. And come here, stencil. I'm going to use this one. It's kind of like a faux writing. I bet these, no, they didn't come from the same thing. I have no idea where I got half of these stencils anymore, so that's fun. Get my correct brushy here. Also, I would not recommend doing embossing when you're wearing one of these kinds of gloves. It doesn't work out so well. So we'll do a little bit of that. I went a little bit darker on this background than I did on the first one. So the Salvaged Patina is actually not showing up as well. But that's okay. We'll still get the fun distress effects from it, I believe. Maybe a little bit here. And a little up here. I know you can't see, well, you can see that pretty well, actually. That one worked out pretty well. But I know it's not, it's subtle. It's very subtle. So it won't be very noticeable in the finished product, but any little bit of texture I can get, I will take. And one more. I'm going to use the Uncharted Mariner Uncharted Mariner, which is literally one of my favorite colors. I want to get, the other one I want to get really badly that I don't have yet is the, the Wild Honey, because, you know, I'm my orange girl. There's also still quite a bit of ink on this one, so I may... No, I need a little more than that. A little more. There we go. Especially in the center. I don't mind if it fades off, right? But in the center, it's got to be nice and dark. Go lighter around the edge. Okay. Whoop. Come here, please. Let's just come down from the corner in this one. A little more up here. Good, good. Let's see. I think a little bit there, and maybe a little bit up here. Hopefully I'm not blocking that for you guys. Oop, joop, joop. Fabulous, fabulous. And let's go over here. Okay, perfect. Now, I want to get that distress effect. So I'm just going to use this spray bottle. I got this at the dollar store, y'all. I think you should be able to find one still, probably, but I did get it many years ago. So I'm just going to give this a couple spritzes, let it sink in for a second. I might also, well, usually I use my left hand to do this, but get a couple of bigger splots on there. And let that sit for just a second. And then come in with a paper towel. I'm just going to lay that over the top. As you can see, this is not my first one, or my first time using this one. I'm just going to make sure I get up all that water. And ta-da! Y'all probably can't see much at the moment, but I promise you, it made a difference. Let me see if I can pick it up for you. So you see the little reaction that it had in there. Yes, please do. Please do go back to focusing. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I sure appreciate it. Okay. So next we are going to do some stamping. I'm using the small and both the medium ones of these. These are the nesting circles from PM Artist Studio. Let me just get my gel plate out here to use as a little stamping block. And I'm going to use 3 colors for this. So I have the Folk Art Sage, the Bluebell, and the Citrus Green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Sage and the smallest, no, the medium. Is it the medium one? It is the medium one. Start with the Sage. So I'm not going to clean off my gel plate in between. I'm going to let the colors build upon themselves. So let me get that brayered out really quickly. And just stamp, stamp. And this one is very subtle. You're not going to see tons of it. And that is A-OK by me. I was watching, oh heck, who was I watching the other day? Oh, I can't think of her name, but it's Words and Pictures, if you guys know who that is. And she made sure to stamp on top of her tape, because you can use the tape as a decorative element too, and I don't know why I didn't think about that before now. Okay, gotta immediately wash this off. And now I'll go in with the smaller stamp and the blue. Again, I did not rinse off or did not pull the color off of the gel plate, nor did I clean off my brayer, so it's still wet. So the colors will mix a bit, and that is A-OK. And just add a few of these in here. Okay, and then last one, citrus green, and I'll use my larger one for that. That's not the largest stencil in the pack. It's the second largest one. Come on, come out, paint. Be good, paint. Be good, paint. And I probably won't add much of this, maybe just like where it's overlapping. In a few spots, like maybe here. And maybe here. Anything else? Maybe we can do a little down here and a little up here. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm just gonna place that on top of my gel plate so that I can get a pull off of it. Whoops. And since it's using cohesive colors, you may even be able to use the gel print in the journal. That's the idea anyway. Okay, so let's put that to the side. And then there was one more thing that I did. Choo, choo, choo. Come on, I need you to move. Which was just some white splatters. So I even have a little bit of leftover white gesso over here. I don't mind if it gets a little tinted blue, that's fine. That I can use from the masterboard. And just do some sprinkle, sprinkle, little splatters. Sprinkle, sprinkle, little splatters. That should have been the song. Okay, let me go ahead and give this a dry. And then there's one more step to do to have the backgrounds done. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is just come in where this embossing powder is and wipe away any extra ink or anything that got on top of it. And it'll be a subtle difference, but basically we're just bringing that bright white back. So anywhere the distress ink got put over it, it's trying to hold on to that ink right now, but if you just get a little wet paper towel and run over it, it'll take the ink right off. So Yeah, see, that spot had a lot going on. Like so. A little more, oh, a little more. Okay, there we go. So, that is the basic background done. So what I did here, and obviously it's not exactly the same, right? Because I went darker in the background here than I did on here. But it's all still the same colors and everything, so that's fine. But now everything that I did for this master board that I can cut up to use to make pockets, envelopes, belly bands, whatever, I'm probably going to need to make a couple more of these in a few other color combinations. I now have the background for these. So, do we want to remove the tape right now? Or do we want to remove the tape after we have finished everything? Decisions. Decisions. I think I'm going to, no. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I'm debating, because if I remove the tape now, if I want to keep the white border, that's going to be harder to do. But I want to do some of them in this landscape orientation and then some of them in portrait orientation. And I am just not sure that will be that easy when I have it continued to be taped down. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna, which way did I put the tape on first? There it is. Remove the tape and get this cut up. Save the tape. Don't throw away the tape. And you'll notice this really cheap paper does pull up underneath the, oh crap. Don't mind me. Underneath the tape, it does pull up. Okay, there we go. No, my tape. Oh, sorry, I nudged you guys. Come here, please. No, please don't. Please don't. Okay. So the sides, yes, the sides come off first. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these up so that they're all the same size. And then I'm going to lay them under a book for a couple hours just to help flatten them out so that they're not too warpy. Like so. And then I will come back to you guys and we can get some decorating done. How does that sound? Good? By the way, how fun. See that tape? I don't know why I never thought to keep the tapey bits before, but whoops. I'm doing so now. So yeah, I am going to cut this up, put it under a book, and I will see you guys in a little while. Okay, so it's the next day, and I did leave these to dry under a book overnight or to flatten out after I cut them out. So you can see all the fun texture. And I was planning on decorating them, finishing them today, but I went ahead and edited what I'd done yesterday, and we're already well over 20 minutes. So I'm going to actually just end it here for today. Whoop, that one's... and like I said, some of them I'm going to do, you know, portrait style, and then some of them I will do landscape style. And I'll do another video of that. So stay tuned for part 2. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.